So what was that experience like, going on tour? Obviously, there's this big kind of glamorization of the tour life that is, slightly overstated, I'm sure, at times. So if you want to share a little bit about that first tour and kind of how that's developed into other tours and then up into where you are today.
Yeah, of course. So that the artist that I went on that shoot with in LA, it was like a one-time content shoot. And then we had like we kind of hit it off. The artist was cool. The manager and I really, clicked. And we had gotten dinner a few other times together while I was still in LA, and we became close. And they were like, "Hey, if we ever go on touring, like mind you, I had tried touring from like 17 to like 20, and just nobody wanted to take me on the road. And understandably now, I was a kid. But I remember them being like, "Hey, if we ever go on touring, like we want to take you out." And at that point, I was like, "Yeah, whatever. Like I'll believe it when I see it." And sure enough, like I had moved back to Philly, and we had kind of kept in touch. And then this was in 2020, and so 2 years later, 2022 or 2023, they were like, "Hey, we have a tour coming up." And at this point, like I was making all right money. I was making all right money in Philly, but it wasn't the big thing that I wasn't getting was there was no like trajectory of like this being a sustainable career. It's like, yeah, every month I was able to make a pretty decent amount of money, but it's like it wasn't like I was having repeat customers. It was like I was scouring sites like Upwork every day to try and get new work or being cold DMs and whatnot. So the offer came in. They were like, "Look, we don't have a lot of money. Well, we have $1,000 a week if you want to do this. It's photo, it's video, and like short form content." A, um, I didn't really do photo at the time. I always felt like for some reason, because I started doing video, I felt like to be a photographer, it was so elusive, and I had to have done it before. And so I was always kind of scared of photographers, and I never called myself one, which is ironic because now I feel like I'm almost better at photography than I am at video. Um, but I was like, I was like, I lied, and I was like, yeah, I could do photo, sure. Which I think is very important to kind of sometimes like fake it till you make it within reason. And the other thing was, I remember saying yes to that tour because not for the money, but I was literally like, "Oh, this will be a cool experience." In a couple years, I could say I did the touring thing once. And so the first tour happened, and it was like everything that like I had hoped it would be. Like I used to watch like the Justin Bieber documentary growing up and was like, wow, touring looks so cool. And so going on a tour bus and running around the venue, like it was as cool as I thought it was. And I was like, this is great. And so I did that tour, and like I didn't seek anything else after that. I was like, okay, this was fun. And somebody that worked on that team worked with another artist, and that led to the next tour. And then it's, kind of went from there. But it was in the beginning, and I still love touring now, but obviously I'm not as green. So like, I'm a bit more like, okay, I like see things for what they are. In the beginning, I loved it. I was like, this is the greatest thing ever.
Right. Yeah, you get that initial excitement and you're doing awesome work and you're getting to see the shows every night and capture the crowds and all that stuff is like, some of the most exciting stuff you're going to capture. But
Hmm.
I'm sure there's a very real side to, especially if you're doing, starting off in like a van tour or, starting off with, smaller venues that aren't selling out every night. Things are it could be a little bit different.
I'm very privileged in the fact of like a lot of people watching this should know that like I lucked out and my first tour was a bus tour. I've actually only done a van tour once, and funny enough, it was this year, which never anybody that's afraid of like being too big for your like being humble is very important. And I had an artist that I did a van tour with this year who is I took it because they were paying my current rate, which is great. So it's like, okay, if you're gonna pay me the same amount of money, sure. And also I have a really strong belief in this artist, the same way that I've had for a few other artists, where I'm like, this could pay off getting in on the ground level. So I should mention I was lucky in that I started off on like a bus, and that's very, it's not always the case.
Right. Yeah. It's still great, but even still, tour's exhausting, and I think a lot of people don't realize, like, especially when you're doing content, short form content and video, it's like, you're around capturing all the moments when everyone's active, and then when everyone's not active and they're resting, now you got to put a lot of that content together, and it is a very full time job. It is, not for the faint of heart, But again, if you love what you do, it's rewarding work, and it feels great to do it. So I mean, now these days, first, you know, some of these names of people you've toured with is just, for me personally, I'm a fan of all of these people. So it's like, for me, I'm like, this sounds amazing. What is the current state of the tour life for you? Like, how often are you trying to go back to back on tours, or how are you trying to, you know, kind of manage those schedules these days?
The entire mentality upon moving to Nashville was, I should say about a year ago, when touring started becoming very consistent, a year or two or something like that ago, I was like, okay, striking while the iron is hot is very important. And I kind of put personal life on the back burner, and I was like, I'm just going to go as hard as I can while the opportunity is coming in the amount that it's coming in. And I'm just gonna attack it. And so all of 2024, I was on the road quite a bit, and then 2025 happened, and it was even crazier. So I moved to Nashville April of 2025, and up until I want to say a week ago or 2 weeks ago or something like that, because I got sick, I hadn't been home in Nashville for more than a week at a time consecutively. 2 weeks ago, I literally landed at three, or what is it, at 3 o'clock, got to my apartment at 3:15 from the airport, and left at 3:30. Like, I had enough time to pack and leave. And so the state of touring right now is, it's pretty like nonstop for me. And just because I have this kind of mindset right now of like, I'm 28, I'm single. As much as I would love to dive into the next stage of life, I don't want to do that until I feel like the level that I'm doing it at now, I feel like is coming from a place of like I have to do it. When I have a partner and kids one day, I don't want to have to do it. I should, I should take the jobs that I want to. So my mentality is work my butt off now, so that way, like, when the time comes, like, I don't have to do it in this capacity that I am. And so it is very nonstop. This is actually the most that I'm home in like the next month. I have like just a lot of weekend runs, but once June starts, I think from June, honestly, until December, I don't think I'm home for like more than like a week and a half at a single time. It's just like, go.
Wow.